It's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I published an article on Sunday in relation to Capilano Honey's parent company sending a legal threat to beekeeper Simon Mulvaney. And I thought I'd give it a day or two to see if they followed up with that legal threat. At this point, they haven't. That doesn't mean they won't. They could do any time. They're trying to sell a company, and they obviously want to get rid of any bad press. I assume they're thinking that the bad press might impact on the sale price. And that's what I'm assuming. There's no other logical reason, I don't think, for them sending in a legal threat at a time that they're advertising they're trying to sell the company. Anyhow, I haven't heard anything more. So at this point in time, they haven't followed up with that, although they might. And I'll read out the article now because it's relevant. They've had an ongoing battle with Simon Mulvaney and myself. They sued me for defamation and this website. Anyhow, I'll read out the article. And I published an article on Sunday, the 13th of July, 2025, and it's titled, Capilano Honey Used Legal Threat to Silence Critic While Trying to Sell the Company Internationally. And the article starts off, Capilano Honey's parent company, Hive and Wellness Australia, has sent a legal threat to beekeeper Simon Mulvaney, demanding he takes down numerous videos and articles from his social media, only a day after the media reported that Hive and Wellness Australia are trying to sell the company. Capilano Honey have previously sued Simon Mulvaney and me for reporting Capilano was suing Mulvaney to silence us reporting about allegations of Capilano selling fake and poisonous honey. Same allegations that Channel 7 reported in 2008 and 2011, yet they were never sued. It raises many concerns and questions, given Capilano Honey has a long history of selling and being accused of selling fake honey. The biggest concern is if the company is sold to Chinese investors, as Nestlé's Egmont honey was recently, will Capilano Honey and Hive and Wellness Australia's other brands be diluted with fake honey, given China is the world's biggest producer and seller of fake honey? Australian Financial Review published an article on the 8th of July 2025 titled, Stokes back Capilano Honey, feels interest for iconic brand, launches review, which starts off, how sweet it is to be Rothschild & Co. 7 months after the investment bank sold Nestlé's Egmont honey to Beijing-based Huatai International Private Equity Fund, as bankers have secured another honey deal. Street Talk can reveal Hive and Wellness Australia, which owns Australia's #1 honey brand Capilano Honey, has brought in Rothschilds to kick off a strategic review after fielding inbound expressions of interest for the $150 million revenue business. The Australian Financial Review also report that billionaire Kerry Stokes is still one of the major shareholders via his company Australian Capital Equity. It's worth looking at a few articles that I previously published as per below. In April 2020, I published an article titled Woolworths Involved in Global Food Fraud, Conspiracy with Capilano Honey, Kerry Stokes, Kevin Rudd's son-in-law, Albert Z, and others, which starts off, Woolworths is again selling fake honey in a scam involving Capilano Honey Pty Limited, now known as Hive and Wellness Australia. The owners Kerry Stokes, Kevin Rudd's son-in-law, Albert Z, and others. The global food fraud scam conspiracy entails importing fake honey and selling it in Australia. Only at Woolworths at this point via a new brand called Cloverdale Honey, which is 90% imported fake honey. They are also exporting it overseas under what seems to be a false impression it's 100% Australian honey. I put questions to Woolworths and their CEO Brad Baduki and Hive and Wellness Australia Pty Limited, formerly Capilano Honey, but they failed to respond even though they knew I'd be making the allegations I am in this article. Hive and Wellness Australia and Woolworths have a long history of selling fake honey, which is worth reviewing, but let's deal with their latest scam first, the new Cloverdale honey. And I've got a link to the full article in that article I just published on Sunday. And I go on to say, I went to Woolworths today, 12th of July 2025, and Cloverdale honey is still 90% of imported fake honey. In December 2020, I published an article titled Capilano Honey Owner, Hive and Wellness Australia, and back up to the old tricks, dumping imported honey in Australia, putting struggling beekeepers out of business, which starts off, Capilano Honey owner, Hive and Wellness Australia, are sneakily selling imported honey in Western Australia under the Sunnyflow brand, which is 90% imported honey. But they make no mention of Sunnyflow being one of their brands on their Hive and Wellness Australia website. Add this to the Cloverdale honey, which is also 90% imported honey, and not mentioned on their website as one of their brands, which they are selling Australia-wide at Woolworths, then it becomes obvious they are Australia's biggest honey importer, putting struggling Australian beekeepers out of business. Channel 7 also broadcast stories in 2008 and 2011 accusing Capilano Honey of selling poisonous and polluted honey. But Capilano never sued 7, and the stories were still on the 7 website until about the end of 2018, when they disappeared. About the same time, Capilano were exposed by other media for selling fake Lowry honey. And in the article I published on Sunday, I've embedded one of the 7 videos, but I won't play that now because 7 might complain to YouTube for copyright. My article goes on to say, lawsuit Capilano Honey v Dowling. Just for the record, in March 2021, Capilano Honey won a judgment in their favour, which I wrote about in an article titled Capilano Honey awarded $25,000 after spending millions trying to silence journalist Shane Dowling for allegations they sold poisonous and toxic honey. Neither Capilano Honey nor their former CEO, Ben McKee, had the judgment enforced, and I paid nothing. I did have a big win during the course of the Capilano Honey v Dowling matter, where I won a unanimous judgment in the New South Wales Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, to have the suppression orders and non-publication orders lifted that Capilano were using to hide their dodgy conduct. And I published another video in the article I published on Sunday, which is a recent video Simon Mulvaney published on his social media, in which lawyers for Hive and Wellness Australia, which is Capilano, have demanded he take down. There's nothing wrong with the video. Simon Mulvaney is just expressing his opinion. In the other videos and articles they want also taken down and no worse. My article goes on to say food fraud, China. If Hive and Wellness Australia and its brands such as Capilano Honey are sold to Chinese investors, then the likelihood of all their brands being diluted with syrup would be extremely high, given China are the biggest seller of fake honey in the world. Sydney Morning Herald published an article in 2018 titled Fake Honey Scandal Widens to Australian-Sourced Brands, which starts off, 1 in 5 samples of local honey sourced along the eastern seaboard of Australia, including boutique brands, has been found to be fake, deepening the global scandal over the impurity of honey. The study, which tested 5 raw samples of honey and 95 local and global branded honey, found 27% were adulterated. But the big shock was Australian honey. Of the 38 honey samples sourced from supermarkets and markets, 18%, almost 1 in 5, detected adulteration, which means they're fake honey. The states implicated in the scandal include Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales and Tasmania. Food fraud is a $40 billion a year industry, and it's getting bigger as criminal gangs exploit weak regulation and outdated government tests. Honey is the third most adulterated food in the world, behind milk and olive oil. The international fraudsters produce the fake honey and sell it to unsuspecting suppliers at a higher price, making a fortune along the way. Chinese vendors use the website Alibaba to sell rice syrups and other syrups that they claim can pass official honey tests. They sell for $500 a metric tonne, which is vastly cheaper than honey. Closing arguments. There's a high risk that if Hive and Wellness Australia, which is Capilano Honey, is sold to overseas investors, then the amount of fake honey in Australia will increase. It is almost certain that any new owner will ramp up one of Capilano's tricks of selling under the Capilano Honey brand in Asia as 100% Australian honey, when there's only a small percentage of Australian honey. Hive and Wellness Australia, especially under the previous listed name of Capilano Honey, has a long history of dodgy practices and is certain to get worse under full foreign ownership. Making a legal threat to Simon Mulvaney while trying to sell the company internationally was not a good move, but it is straight out of Kerry Stokes' playbook, which he used during Capilano's legal cases against Simon Mulvaney and me. Kerry Stokes' legal nous has been found to be wanting in recent times with his involvement in the Ben Roberts-Smith matter and the Bruce Lerman matter via his control of Channel 7. The latest legal threat against Simon Mulvaney is another classic Streisand effect mistake. Now, make sure you visit my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, and read that article. Got a lot of links in the article, and there's 2 videos embedded in the article. The reason I won't play them now on YouTube is because YouTube are a bit more aggressive in taking articles down. People complain about copyright, whereas my website, no, the website host is fairly aggressive in taking a stand and not copying frivolous and vexatious complaints. And if you visit my website and click on that article, you'll be able to watch those 2 videos. Now, as I said at this point in stage, Simon Mulvaney hasn't received any further correspondence from the lawyers, so looks like they're not going to take any action. But you never know, they could do tomorrow or the next day, who knows. And please do your bit and help shine a light on corruption and share this video on social media. And please hit the like and subscribe button and notification button. That way you get notified every time I publish a new video. And Kangaroo Court of Australia's independent media. I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, so please support my Patreon account or PayPal account. You can donate any amount. And the links for the Patreon account and PayPal account are below this video on YouTube and also my website, or you can go to my website and click on the donations page for other donation options. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.